we're back. This is another episode of the TomCast, number 6 to be exact, and I'm joined by my good wonderful co-hosts, something, whatever. Mike, aka Beaver PI, and Andrew.
Hey.
How are you fellas doing today?
I'm good.
Andrew, how you doing?
All right. It's a little weird that the audience isn't gonna know this, but we're recording these a little bit out of order, so it's a little bit of something to get used to. But no, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, this is the temporal fabric of things is a little wonky right now, because this will be the 6th episode, but by the time this episode comes out, we'll actually have a prior episode where we have summarily executed Mike and replaced him with 2 other co-hosts for that episode. Of course, being our good friends Ethan and James. But right now, I learned some necromancy. I went to my local bookstore and got necromancy for dummies, and we brought Mike back. So he's back from the dead. Mike, how you feeling?
I'm feeling my neck's a little stiff, but you know.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
A little bit better. Yeah.
I think
you guys sewed it on wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, we let you sit in the sun for a little bit. It wasn't pretty. What?
No, that's what that smell is.
Yeah, you should probably you should get that checked up.
Oh, that's right. I don't need to see a doctor.
Yeah, they're sure.
Yeah, and talk to an accountant too about that, like that tax fraud.
No, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. But
doesn't need to see the doctor. Is the most accident prone out of all of us.
But anyway, what I want to do here on the TomCast is that every 5th episode, as we would describe in our 5th episode, is we want to have a couple guests on. Usually, maybe 1 or 2, and if I'm gonna really want to torture myself, then we'll do maybe 3. But anyway, every 5th episode we want to have guests, and every episode after we have guests, I want to try this little experiment of a little episode that we call, I don't know, like the lifestyle episode or something like that. This is like, this is the kind of episode where we would have Whoopi Goldberg as a guest, talking about something stupid. But sadly, I couldn't afford Whoopi Goldberg because I bought a cheese pizza instead. But
what can you do?
Yeah, we can't do much. So we got a couple topics. This episode won't be as long as normal episodes, thankfully, because we won't be talking about the news. We're just going to be talking about a couple of topics that are more casual, more non-gaming related, not anything like that, unless, of course, they come up in casual conversation. But in general, we just want to make it a bit more chill. These topics can range the gambit from the ones that we're going to talk today that go from like summer camp to bucket list items to other, interesting exotic dishes from abroad. And they could even some like a lot of people have asked me a bunch of questions like, what do you miss about Canada and stuff like that, and that'll be a topic one day probably. But for now, we got 3 topics today, and to just jump right into it. First topic that we're going to talk about is the joys or woes of summer camp, and this one was suggested by Andrew. So Andrew, you take it away.
Well, I figured I should probably throw a couple topics into the ring because I've been slacking as of late as far as topics go. But when you were asking about kind of almost not exactly a tell-all, I figured, if we're going to reveal a little bit of information, what's something that at least everyone can relate to without going too much into the specifics of everyone's life. So, summer camp. I'm not sure about your guys' experiences, but for myself growing up, I was enrolled in plenty of summer activities because both my parents worked over the summer, so naturally they needed people to watch over us, and it was probably better for us in the long run to interact with people over the summer and actually get some physical activity as opposed to staying at home playing video games. Not that I wouldn't have liked that, but I think it probably was better in the long term. So that's kind of where my thought process went as far as lifestyles, kind of get a feel for how we are when we were growing up. So that's what came to my head.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's it's definitely something that, yeah, I think most people have done. Mike, do you want to go in first, or do you want me to start with this?
I was gonna say, I actually, counter to that, I have never actually, I wouldn't say I've ever done a summer camp. I've done a bunch of summer activities and like groups activities, I guess, like swim club and stuff like that, but I've never actually done like a camp. Okay. So have you guys actually been to like a full on, like in the movies, all the kids living in like cabins doing all these like bushcrafting little things? Like, is that what you guys are talking about? It's like summer camp like that?
No, I think unless Andrew's going there, but I think we're talking about something much more menial, much more kind of down low, aka probably like YMCA summer camp type thing. Which is what
yeah, so your swim lessons would fit in perfectly with that.
I was
It'd
gonna
be
say,
a bit modified, but yes, it would work.
I did a lot of swimming. I was in swim clubs for, I'd say maybe like 8 years or something like that, until I was maybe 16. And I also did Air Cadets and Army Cadets, and the Army Cadets.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Did you do any of the summer programs for those?
I did. I went out to Vernon when I was living out in BC. I went out there for I think it was like 6 weeks or something like that. It was interesting to say the least. Like, oh man, it was hot though. Oh my god, we were sleeping in these bunks and these little. The tents were like the Mylars. Like I don't even know how to like. It was like really thick garbage bag material, and the cots they had us sleeping on were like aluminum frame, really rickety. The beds were just like hay thin, like plastic covered. We had to use these wool sheets, and they only gave you 2 wool sheets to like go for the night. There was no heating, no air conditioning, there was nothing. It was just a little, I don't even know what it would be like when you consider it, just a little shell sitting on the top of a hill, and you got a little hospital bed as a bunk. Oh, it was miserable.
What? Oh, it could have been all miserable.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, we had to wake up at like 5, 6 in the morning. You had to march everywhere. You know, you had your little groups. Not all of us got along. We all had to play instruments. I chose the bagpipe group, and I thought we were actually gonna play the bagpipes. No, we ended up playing the recorder. So we ended up hearing like these cool Scottish tunes like on the recorder, and it was absolutely garbage. We had one kid who actually did know how to play the bagpipes, and he actually ended up getting his own pair, but the rest of us, no, we got shafted. We got recorders. That was absolutely garbage.
So, like, what were you in the summer programs for? Like, what did you take? What courses?
What, at the Army Cadets?
Yeah, Army Cadets or Air Cadets, either or.
God, if I remember, like, so we had the bagpipes. What else did we do? I think we did some bushcrafting and like survival stuff. That was pretty cool. So I remember there was 1 week we were kind of just doing, you know, sneaky stuff out in the woods, and they taught us how to do this thing called a ghost walk, which where you walk from your heel to the ball of your foot and kind of like springing from the heel to the ball, and it's meant to reduce like the amount of noise that your footsteps create. So we had to sneak up to our corporal, who was like, you know, like a 14, 15-year-old or whatever, and they would just stand there, and if they heard you sneaking up to them, you know, they'd send you back, and it was kind of like a red light, green light sort of thing. Yeah, it was just kind of fun.
What are they training you how to be witchers? What the heck? What is this for?
I mean, yeah, it was the Army Cadets, man. It was camp. You know, they're there to teach you, I guess, some basic soldier skills or stuff. I guess, I don't know. But it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. We had some, you know, boot shining and stuff like that, like, you know, tailoring your uniforms and that kind of stuff. It was kind of crappy, but yeah.
Now dialing back. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, looking back, it taught you some discipline as a kid, so I guess that was kind of nice.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, paid about $60 a week, which is amazing at the time.
Yeah.
What were you gonna ask?
I was about to say, like, dialing back to your swim lessons, like, I'm assuming this is how you got your lifeguard certification and how you ended up working with Tom when you guys were lifeguards for a bit.
It played into it. So for the lifeguarding, I was doing a whole bunch of swim clubs since by the time I was, I want to say I was like 9, 10, I'd say. I got enrolled in a swim club by my parents, and they just kept rolling me through every year, summer and winter. I was doing both seasons constantly, to the point where they just kept saying, like, well, you know what, since you're doing all this swimming, why don't you get your lifeguarding and get all your Red Cross and your bronze medallion and all this stuff. And so I just played into it, said, you know what, you guys are going to pay for it, why not? And it'll be good if I ever want to get a good paying job as a lifeguard, which ended up being the case. And Tom and I started working together. When was that, Tom? When we started working around?
Oh, man.
2012?
Yeah, it was 2012, 2013, around there.
Yeah.
Because that was in my that was in my final year of high school. That's when I got that job.
You were still in high school back then?
Yeah.
I thought you had graduated at that point.
No. I did.
Oh, wow.
I went to, I think, my first year in college. I think that's when my NLS kind of ran out, and I fleeced the pool as quote unquote pool operator for a couple months.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But
you just kept showing up. You just checked the freaking chemicals.
Yeah, I would do 2 hours of work in an 8-hour day. Maybe, if even, like, every 2 hours, it'd be like 15 minutes of work of just checking the chemicals, going, doing it, and then it's like, oh, okay, back to sit down for another while.
Well, they couldn't pay you anything less than 2 hours or something like that, if I remember. So they, no matter what they had you do, because they needed to keep you on the roster, because we needed so many lifeguards to keep that pool open, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something
so
like that. So
it was all just, it was them fleecing the system and you taking advantage of that and taking the money and running, which I don't even blame you for. I'd do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And the predicaments of after that job actually are kind of really, really neat, because then I went and did another job, and then you stayed there, and then we both got quote unquote laid off, and then on the same day, and then both got hired the same day for the same job without even knowing it. And that's where that's where the Vivint stuff happened.
Yeah, no, like not even knowing it, to the point where I was called up as like, hey, are you coming to this interview? Like, that was legit. That was a real thing. Yeah. But I was about an hour late.
Yeah, you were quite late, but he needed a goon, so the goons came. But
yeah, I did not think that was a real offer.
Interesting. But to go back to the topic at hand, like I also did a bit of a summer camp as well. Like I don't remember like way back before I went to Canada if I went to summer camp or not. That's like a really, really long time ago. But I know when I came to summer camp, I did end up going to summer camp for, I want to say maybe like 3, maybe 4 years. I want to say more like 3. And that's where I unwittingly actually met a lot of my of some of my good friends that I still hang out and talk to this day. Except, well, I'm in Italy now, but I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew and I ended up going to the same summer camp. Because, like, Andrew, did you go to the YMCA summer camp?
You bet I did.
Yeah, so we probably met each other there before we met at school, type of thing, probably. But
there's a very good chance. I think there are some people that we know. We have mutual friends we met through there.
Well, it's like, I know our good friend Gatlin. Like, you know him from there, and you probably don't have that much contact with him after that, but Like, you know him from there. And that's where I met him as well, because I met him from summer camp. And it was like summer camp, and then it'd go away for a little while. And then summer camp, and then, different schools for a year. And then no summer camp 1 year, I guess. But then that must have been the year where I started doing swimming lessons instead. And doing swimming lessons, who was there other than my good friend Gatlin? And so that's how that started. That's how like that goofy thing started. And so it was mostly like, oh, he's just the cool guy, and the goofy guy I like to hang out with at swim lessons and stuff like that. And then eventually one day, I don't know if it was like after swimming lessons or something like that, but he might have been something like, oh, like my mom and his mom talked or something like that. Probably. I'll have to ask my mom. My mom would probably know. But because she listens to this program. But it eventually culminated into like, oh, we went swimming at the Henderson pool after, and then after the pool, it was like, hey, you want to come watch WWE SummerSlam, like the pay-per-view? I'm like, what? You like pro wrestling? And so, that friendship exploded. And so, like, me and my brother, we went and watched SummerSlam. And then me and my brother, and then Gatlin and his brother, we, became good friends. And we are still incredibly good friends to this day. Like, I think not the day before I left for Italy, but the day before, because like the day before I left for Italy, that was like, you and a couple of goons, we went to go get wings.
Mm-hmm.
But the day before then, it was me, Gatlin, and his brother Hunter, and then our good friend Jaden. We went to Gatlin's place. We went to go watch one last viewing of Undercover Brother. Which, if you've never seen that movie, it's like a blaxploitation movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's like, an early 2000s, like, blaxploitation, dumb comedy movie. And then after that, it was Hunter and I's last Shadow of the Colossus playthrough, where we're like, we're going to run through this sucker as fast as we could, and maybe, I'll explain like the origins of that another time, but the origins of it is that we both love Shadow of the Colossus, and every Boxing Day or Christmas we would hang out and we would try to run through it as fast as we can and try to speed run it as fast as we can. And like every year we got better and better and better. So it got to the point where, hold on, let me pull it up.
Now go ahead.
Yeah, where like I got the picture, and it's like the fastest we got defeating all 16 Colossi as of right now is 3 hours, 54 minutes, and 58 seconds.
Oh, dang.
And it's one of the, and if we didn't screw up a couple portions, it would have been like under 3 hours and 30 minutes, easy.
Was it like, the turtle? I hate the turtle.
No, it wasn't the turtle.
It was the flying one, wasn't it?
It was the flying one, and it wasn't me. It's like, I'm gonna lay it all on you, Hunter. You screwed up big time, buddy. If you're listening to this program, it's like, he fell off a couple times. He fell off. He fell.
He fell
off the bird a couple times, and that's like a huge time sink to get back onto the platform and then jump back up on him. But and that's how all that stuff kind of. But going back to it, before I left for Italy, one of the last people I went to go see were those guys and doing this. So it's good friends that are still good friends with, and will remain to be good friends till probably time immemorial. Till I die. I don't know. Die when some nuclear attack happens or something goofy, but you never know. But after that, apart from swimming lessons, I don't really think we had like summer camp type stuff. After that, it was pretty much just like, your summer camp's is Halo 3 on 360. Like just play video games.
The best babysitter.
Better babysitter than YouTube Kids.
Oh,
YouTube
no,
Kids into tablet.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I guess moving on. Should we move on to the next topic?
Or should I go into my experiences?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn, we skipped Andrew. Forgot. Yeah, okay, Andrew, go. You go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. So mine is kind of like a fusion between the both of you because I have experience in those summer
cadets.
classes for swimming. Not through the same ones as Mike, but got those experiences and then experiences through YMCA, as Tom has alluded to. Done several years of that, and then also cadets as well. Not air or army. I did sea cadets with my brothers, which you think would be counterintuitive in prairie provinces that are landlocked and have no oceans nearby. But I can assure you, we've got enough lakes, and we're totally not just puddle pirates or anything like that. That's complete slander. Don't believe any of the lies the air cadets will tell you. But similar to you, Mike, I didn't do any camps in BC. I did one in Alberta. Penhold had closed many years ago, and I did band camp for that. So I do have the right to say this one time at band camp because I went to band camp. I know, funny, clever. So I did that for probably 4 years, because I did through all 3 levels: basic, intermediate, then advanced, and then I staffed for my final year in cadets, and got paid pretty handsomely, if I recall correctly. That did help when I finally moved on to post-secondary schooling. Would I? Of course, I'm not sure when you did your thing, Mike, but I distinctly remember there being heavy kind of rules against like fraternization. But if you put a bunch of teens together in an isolated place for an extended period of time, it's bound to happen. I just want to say I have been in a few. Well, we were in the camp I went was primarily an air cadet once, so we were split up. Our groups were called flights, and I was in a few flights that were very, very friendly with each other. Maybe too friendly.
Yeah, there were a few couples that were made at the in Vernon, and actually the one of the guys, I guess he would be considered like the marching NCM, or like I think he was a master corporal. He was like 15, 16. Long story short, his girlfriend apparently broke up with him the day of camp. Like the day of him flying out there, and he was just a massive prick the entire time out there. Oh my god, man.
Damn. Yeah, crazy how that works.
I was like 12 years old. I was sitting there like, he's like, yeah, you're gonna sing "I'm a Little Teapot" in front of everyone. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. He's like,
no,
what?
that's
like,
just.
He's like, what? He's like, you can't say no to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty sure there's some threshold I can say no to in this point.
Absolutely. You want to learn about like just how much of a dick someone can truly be. You go to any sort of setting where they have kids or youth in charge, and you just watch the power go to their head, and it always does.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, Lord of the Flies type stuff.
Lord of the Flies. Yeah, no, there were a few people that I staffed with that are just, they're just the worst. There's moments where like, normally I wouldn't wish anything on people, but you, like if a meteor fell on you or a plane crashed right over top of us, I would not be mourning right now.
Like, oh, okay.
And it's funny too, when you staff, your rank that you have back at your home corps, your home squadron or whatever, like that doesn't matter. You're assigned essentially a new rank. So when I staffed, I was pretty much, I don't remember the exact equivalence to like Army or Air, but I was essentially second from the top. So one of the higher warrant officers. But when I did camp, I didn't feel like being in charge. I just frankly just wanted to kind of relax for the summer. So I was perfectly comfortable being one of the lower officer ranks. So I always called it my highest demotion. But there were some people who would go from essentially what my rank was at camp to what my rank was back at base. So they would essentially jump 2 or 3 levels up in ranks, and then they would immediately turn into just complete assholes. Like, you need to chill, all right? You're what? 16, 17? You might be a big hotshot back home, but out here, like, seriously, like, chill. No one cares. None of this matters.
Yeah.
Take a step back and realize that none of this is going to matter when we all go home.
Yeah. Well, so what rank did you have when you left? Because you were in for 5-6 years.
Something like that. Yeah, I was so the C cadet rank is Chief Petty Officer, 2nd class. So that's one of the higher warrant officers, I believe, for Air and Army.
Not seaman. Not master seaman.
No, I was not seaman. Not for many years.
Not leading master seaman.
That's like a master warrant officer.
I believe so. It's up there. I wasn't.
It's sperm.
Oh, yeah, it's so funny, Tom. So funny.
Oops.
Navy ranks call themselves seamen. You're so funny.
Yeah. I could also say, that's Seaman, like the Rammstein song.
I think they actually changed it because they were getting too many jokes. Don't they call them something different now? I remember seeing a news article about that.
I think
they
it's
call
just
them sailors now.
Yeah, sailors. They can keep
it's the sea men and the sea women and the sea children.
That's right. It's too gendered. We can't have that no more.
I killed them all.
That's right. I didn't even realize. Not just but the sea women, the sea children too. They're like animals, and I treated them like animals. I hate them.
Your typical cadet's experience.
Oh yeah, typical cadet experience.
And Mike, Andrew, then he rode away, all moody on his swoop bike.
That's right. That's right. This is me subtly revealing that I've actually been hating Christians the entire time.
Damn, he wasn't hiding out in Ontario. He was hiding in Alberta this whole time.
That's right.
Come on. Anyway, Andrew,
the ranch
sorry.
was a lie.
Yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was just going back to the whole experiences with YMCA. Did you just do like the junior adventure program, which is like the for those who are unaware, that would be like the 13 to 16 program.
In like age YMCA. 13 to 16?
Yeah, you did those ones.
Did
you ever have? Okay, so did you ever have? Do you remember doing the sleepover at the YMCA?
No, I don't know. I don't remember.
You didn't do that?
I don't think I did.
Oh.
I'm trying to think, like 12 to 13. I don't think I was doing like summer camp by then. I think it was like earlier.
Oh, okay, I see. So you would. Okay, that might be why then I don't have memories of that. Because
okay. So you went.
That would have been the young children.
Okay. So you went like a bit later.
A little bit later, yeah.
Okay. Because I think I went when I was a bit more younger. Like maybe like 10, 11, I think I would have been done. But
gotcha.
I don't. I'm an old geriatric old man now, so I don't. I don't remember things too good. I could be completely wrong.
So you didn't get to experience the dubious legality of having sleepovers at the YMCA.
No, dubious legality.
Okay, so I'll explain this. So every week at the YMCA, I'm not sure if they still do this. It might have just been at the old location before they tore it down.
The new YMCA is too busy dealing with like Somalian kids having knife fights in the parking lot.
Oh right, yeah, that happened.
Oh, God.
Anyway, no.
So real story.
Every Thursday, every Thursday at the YMCA, we would have sleepovers there at the facility. And then Friday would go and walk over to the nearby swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool, to have some swim day there. But I remember you're there at this facility with exercise equipment in the dark, And of course, they have to block places off because, they can't have children running around everywhere because someone's bound to lose an eye or break a toe or something. But to add insult to injury, a lot of the staff would do something that's called Terminator Tag. This was essentially like a tradition that had been running for years, where we would give 2 kids pool noodles, and everyone else would have free reign to run everywhere except where the weights are, and the lights are all off. The objective was for the Terminators, the kids with pool noodles, to find everyone else and whack them. So you can imagine a bunch of kids, a bunch of early to mid teenagers running around in the dark with these 2 people, or trying to find places to hide in this building, where these 2 other people are just hunting them down, essentially, just to whack them with pool noodles.
Damn,
Thinking back on it now, it's absurd to think about, but at the time, it was a blast.
Yeah, it was a different time. I do remember walking to Henderson, to go to the outdoor pool. I do remember that, but I don't remember going to having sleepovers. So,
damn, you left too early.
Yeah, I either left too early or my mom foresaw the quasi-legality of leaving a 12 to 13-year-old Tom at the YMCA overnight.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that safe.
No.
Oh no, it was fine. It was fine. No one died. So
did you guys have access to the pool as well?
No, that was locked off. That was one of the areas that we also couldn't get. Yeah. Otherwise, we would have fallen right into that thing and
100%.
Yeah.
No,
that would have been cold as hell.
Yeah, that would have been cold as hell. I remember
that pool, even on normal temperatures, was cold all the damn time.
You remember how often the hot tub was broken?
Yeah, all the time.
Fuck.
Even at the Holiday Inn, like the hot tub would be broken. Remember that one time, Mike? Yeah. I don't know if you were there, but where like one of the girls screwed up the chemicals on the hot tub so bad that the hot tub was so over chlorinated that like people's swim trunks came out like pink.
Oh my!
Yeah. So like,
no, I don't recall this.
So to put context to this thing, when you do the chemicals for the pool, it's this juggling act of pH, alkalinity, and then I don't know how gross and disgusting, basically. So you got to take a sample from the water, and you got to go in, and you have like these drop solutions that you shake, that within these color ranges will tell you how the pH of the water. And you want to keep it to the closest to 7, right? Where it's the most it's not too basic and it's not too acidic.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
not gonna burn anyone's skin off or
And so there's this Rube Goldberg machine to, like, if it's too basic, then you need to add in like acid. And if it's too acidic, then yeah, you gotta add more chlorine to it. And so any normal pool just has like most of this stuff on it. Like this is just like normal, like this ain't rocket science type stuff. But the pool we worked at was so friggin' cheap. Like cheap. Where it's like, okay, teenagers, we're gonna make you work with chemicals that if you put this thing and this other thing together, you're gonna create mustard gas and die.
Okay, so
that's right.
Did I tell you about the time that I actually I nearly killed fucking some of the staff because I did exactho that?
Oh my gosh!
You know how many people did
really?
that? No, everybody's done that. I've done that. David, which is another friend of ours who used to work there, he did that to himself, and he needed to basically go to the hospital and get go through, I don't know, the freaking Darth Vader chamber where you're feeding in oxygen. Gallon, I think it happened to Gallon too, where mustard gas or something like that happened, and he had to go to the hospital as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it's like
so the jugs that we had to put them in, they were both exactly the same, but one was for acid and one was for pool water, and you had to make sure that you didn't put the pucks in the pool acid or the pool in the acid one, or else you had mustard gas coming out of the tank. And the funny thing is, actually, do you remember where the HVAC system for the entire hotel was?
Oh yeah, right beside it.
Right next door.
Yeah, right beside it in the tool shop. Which that was the best part, because then in those days where I was a pool operator, I'd either spend the time in the guard office talking with the other guards, or more likely, I spent all that time hanging out in the what's it called? In the maintenance office. In the maintenance office, hanging out with our good friend Brian. That may one day be a part of this podcast. I would love for him to be on here. I'd love to have Owen and Brian on here. Like, man.
Man. Talk about the old days of the medieval fight club.
Ooh, yes, I would love to. I've been meaning to join your friends'
forever
thing, but
yeah, no, I'd love to have Brian and Owen on here. Owen, I know he doesn't want to come on here because he's like, I don't have anything interesting to talk about, and it's like bullshit.
Yeah, all he has is interesting things to talk about. Oh my gosh.
The thing is that like putting him on a leash to not talk about politics too much.
Yeah, that's like the trick.
That's the trick.
Is limiting what he talks about.
But it's so interesting. Like, man, I love I'd love to have Owen one of these days. But anyway, Andrew, you got anything more for this?
Well, before I continue, just listening to your guys' experience, it's a miracle any of us are alive, really.
Oh, at the pool? Yeah, any pool run by like teenagers is like a miracle. A miracle. Oh, and then you also had to like fill the pool, especially not the big pool, but the kiddie pool and the hot tub with water. You'd have to fill it up all the damn time. So like if you screw up the water, like you put too much chemicals and stuff like that, you have to close it off and drain it and then fill it up with water. And then it would take a while for it to get like back going. And so like the kiddie pool was the one that was the worst. It was like equal with the hot tub and being super sensitive to like the chemical properties of the water or the acidic properties of the water, right? And ultra sensitive because it's where like toddlers go into, and they all I don't want to think about it. And so it's like no, they don't do that. It's just you don't want it to be full of acid or full of like
it's gonna be full of acid when they're done with it,
or full of chlorine. So it's like, and but I remember, man, people would always complain because it was always too cold, right?
Yeah.
You remember this?
It's gotta be warm for the kids, but there's only so much you can possibly do.
Mike?
I hated that pool.
Yeah.
I hated it so much.
Exactly. That pool sucks. That pool sucks so bad. It was always cold, and it's like it's always cold because you gotta like change out the water on it every 2 minutes.
Yeah. So the kids never really wanted to play in it, and every single time they were always complaining. The parents were like, "Can you warm up the water?" It's like, how?
No, honey, no.
And then
we have a hot tub for a reason.
But I think we should cut it here, and
or else we'll never finish.
No, but leave it. Leave lifeguard stories for another day. Because there's so many we can do. Like, straight up, Mike, there's so many we can do. Like, I'm gonna say one thing, and you will go like, oh my god, we have so many horror stories. Female change room.
Oh god, yeah.
So many. There's so many horror stories from that. And legitimate, like, survival horror stories from it. Straight up.
Yeah.
But
oh my god,
for a different day.
Tub,
for a different day.
The hot tub prostitute.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That homeless bitch.
Oh my god.
The homeless bitch.
Homeless hot tub prostitute.
Yeah. Gee. For another day. For another day. I'm leaving. We're leaving you with this. We're leaving you with this cliffhanger.
Oh my gosh.
So,
oh my god.
See you in 6 episodes.
Leave me with this.
See you in 6 episodes.
Oh my gosh. I can't even. How do I follow up with that? I can't follow up with that.
Well, you better be subscribed. Oh man, we got so many, but we'll leave that for another day. So, anyways, fellas, should we head on to our second topic?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't follow that act anymore. So
Yeah.
Oh,
So this one will probably start pretty normal and they get more deranged as it goes. But this is a pretty innocent and innocuous looking topic. This one was chosen by myself. And this is topic number 2, which is what kind of bucket list places or experiences we want to do before, we kick the bucket. Which is I just learned that's what bucket list meant. Because it's like, yeah, your list before you kick the bucket. I'm like,
really?
oh, damn, I'm stupid. I didn't know that.
Okay.
But
There was a whole movie about this.
I didn't watch that movie. I want to watch this movie about 2 geezers going like, I went to Jamaica or something. I want to see the bucket list except Jack Nicholson spills beans on front of the Lakers court.
My beans.
And then some really getting kicked out. But anyway, yeah, no, we all got like places we want to go, experiences that we want to do, and yeah, I would love to hear your guys's. This is also something too that with time it changes. With new experiences that we experience, it goes like, damn, okay, I want to do that now, sort of thing, and then. It kind of changes with age because there's a couple like bucket list places I've always really wanted to go to, and then there's like ones that get added on because of just different things,
Right.
like different experiences. You go see something like this and you want to do it, but anyway, I don't know which one of you guys want to start. Yeah, Andrew, let's start with you. You end the last one.
Yeah, okay. Bucket list. Well, I guess first and foremost, I gotta start off with I still gotta head over to you and visit you in Italy.
Mhm.
That's probably gonna be the easiest one. So yeah, chalk that one up. And then on extension, continuing on from visiting you in Italy, I think then I would like to visit like other European nations. Now you've got the obligatory Spain, Germany, France, England, and Scotland, because I do technically have family history out there, so
yeah, with a last name like yours, yeah.
Yeah, with a last name like mine. And then with on my mom's side, then I would like to also visit the Philippines at some point. Now, if I were to ask her which areas of the Philippines I should go to, she would definitely say,
None.
"Oh, just stick with the touristy areas.
Yeah.
Do not bother with the city. You just save yourself the
Yeah,
hassle."
don't go to Mindanao. Don't go to Cebu. Stick in Luzon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That was I had a Filipino coworker and I'm like, damn, I want to go to the Philippines one of these days. It's like, it's like, what place where should I go to? And he's like, why? I want to flash my money in front of you.
So long?
Yeah, it's like, but no, Philippines that's not quite a bucket list place, but that is definitely one place I want to go to, just purely because of interesting culture. It's this like mixing of East Asian, like mixing of like Malay, Chinese, and then Spanish and Portuguese cultures all into one.
Oh yeah. People are always talking about how like the U.S. is a melting pot of culture. Now you want a melting pot of cultures. You go to those places in like Southeast Asia that have seen various rulers come and go.
Yeah, the
like
small
those.
countries that have been trampled on many, many times. But the Philippines is one, and also purely, and I'm gonna be real here, just for cuisine. Filipino cuisine is just on it's on another level.
Yes.
It's amazing out there.
Oh.
I spent some time out in Subic Bay doing scuba diving when I was younger, and it was, oh my god, it's so cheap out there too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Grand, not cheap to get out there, but once you land there, yeah, it's pretty cheap.
No. Once you get into Asia, it's pretty much it's just like flying anywhere, like in the USA. It's super cheap once you get down there, but getting down there is the expensive part.
Yeah.
No, that was just, at least for us in Canada, it's expensive because air travel here is garbage.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's what happens when you've got air travel dominated by 2 or 3 companies, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And one of those companies is the government.
oh yeah, exactly. But I do know like WestJet, they just recently got a direct flight to Tokyo now from Calgary.
Ooh.
Which is wild.
Oh,
I
see?
never thought they were gonna do that.
Nice.
They got quite a bit. Like they got a direct flight to like Barcelona in Spain. They got a direct flight, to Paris, Amsterdam, like a couple places in I think like Edinburgh and London. And they got one to Rome, and it'd be wild. If they had one to Milan, that'd be like perfect.
Milan, darling, Milan.
Darling.
That's another place I'd like to visit.
Oh yeah.
Even though that
well, if you come
seems
here,
a bit,
it's like you come over here. It's so easy. It's literally we could just drive there. It's like going to Calgary from where I live.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
It's 2 hours
Perfect.
away. So it's like it's so like the Italians here, they like complain and it's like, oh my god, you had to be in a car for 2 hours to drive somewhere. And it's just like, that's a normal day trip, idiot.
Yeah. Heaven forbid.
Yeah, that's like going up to Calgary. And it's like how many times in a year do we go up to Calgary just to get cheese or something?
Oh, it's like going down to Great Falls for Canada. What was it?
Great Falls.
Golden Corral.
Oh my
man.
gosh! Don't even get me started.
That's another one. That's we gotta cut it because like that's another topic that we'll put like road tripping or something like that. Another one that's like, but anyway. So yeah, Andrew, you want to go to Europe? You want to go to Spain or to the Philippines? Well, Andrew's doing that. Mike, what do you want to do? Where places you want to go? Experiences you want to do before you kick the bucket?
I mean, I never really did that whole wanderlust, find myself, backpacking sort of deal.
No, that stuff's stupid.
If I could,
that stuff's like...
Well, I figured if I could take a year off of work or just like not do anything for a year, I'd maybe like check out Hawaii, like just kind of wander around there.
If you did that, you would
like
live on my couch. Well, actually, you wouldn't live on my couch. You live in my spare bed, but... That's
Fair
like
enough.
that honestly, and that's like I guess it's like the chill out. Hey, I got a sleeping spot or whatever. That's like for a lot of people that want to do that. That's not like a terrible idea because it's one of those. Oh, I want to stay in Italy or something like that for a bit. You could like because going into and out of Europe is the most expensive part. The flight's always the most expensive part. And so if you got like a home base to stay at, aka, just saying, maybe my house, maybe, I'm just saying, but you got a home base to stay at, then you can plan like excursions. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to, and during the week, I'm going to go to like Ljubljana in Slovenia for the week. And then by the time Tom's done work and then on the weekend, we'll go some type. Tons of like, fun little excursions and day trips that you could go out and do just even from here. The only ones that are far are like, going down to southern Italy. Like going, the Campania or Puglia or Sicily. Because it's like, on the other end of the country. But anything up here in the north, it's not like, I think Florence and Tuscany is only like 2 hours away by car. Like it's not that bad. Or San Marino.
It's not terrible.
No, not terrible at all. But you wanted to go to Hawaii?
Well, I do I feel like backpacking across Europe. I mean, I've already done a lot of traveling when I was younger. I've seen lots of Europe. Excuse me. I figure I actually haven't been to any of the real tropical, really nice places like Hawaii. I've seen Australia, but I've really only seen the cities, so I wouldn't mind doing some backpacking in the outback.
Ooh,
it dies.
You're brave.
It dies immediately.
Yeah, no, they're also New Zealand. New Zealand would also be a pretty good time. I've actually never been to New Zealand. It's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah,
I also really,
I really want to go to New Zealand too.
Yeah.
That's where my mom and my dad went on their honeymoon. They went to New Zealand, and my mom sings the praises of New Zealand to this day.
Oh.
So I'm like, damn, I gotta go there. And then and now it's also literally Middle Earth.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, time to go there.
For the nerd out, and then of course, if I was to go to Italy, for the nerd in me, I can't remember the name of it. Basically, it was Naboo. It was like where all the Naboo shots were.
In Lake Como. Yeah, Lake Como.
Say again.
Lake Como.
Lake Como.
Yeah, or Como, and it's
Como.
it's north of Milan, like an hour. That's
Jeez,
where
everything's just in Italy, apparently.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's where. Yeah, there they filmed a lot of the parts like in Feed, which is the city and the palace in episode 1 in Naboo. That's where they filmed that. A lot of like when Anakin and Padme went on their like little retreat thing, and like that little island or whatever. That's like one of the islands on the lake.
Yeah, that's it's absolutely. I've seen some photos, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I figured that would be a great little tourist spot for me.
Oh, probably.
And,
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, Australia, Hawaii, maybe do some traveling down. Maybe hit Vietnam.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Vietnam.
Walk the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Play a little Rising Storm 2 IRL. But, no, that's another one of those places where the cuisine is incredible, and it's
Yeah.
probably like dirt cheap.
Oh, incredibly cheap.
It's like
wow.
no, I had a friend who he didn't go to Vietnam, but he went to Thailand, and he'd work like for maybe like half a year or a year, and then he'd spend the other half of the year like in Thailand and just live easy. And it's like, damn, maybe there's a key to this.
Maybe I'm doing this all wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, no, interesting little places. I guess for me, it's for like, I guess in Europe here, the easy answer is like, oh yeah, I want to go everywhere, because there's always something neat to go in Europe. But I've been more interested in like, as far as for bucket list items, bucket list place, I'm always interested in like the weirdest or like the more sort of just out of place areas that are kind of geographically like interesting or just out of the way. Like I know like one of the ones that I've been wanting to go to for a long time, and if things like go decent, I get like my finances in order, I would love to, probably not this year, but maybe next year, I'd love to go to the Faroe Islands up in the north.
Oh.
Because like they are just incredible vistas of these weirdo like isolated pair of islands where the oldest version of Norse is. It's one of the earliest Viking colonies, like out in the middle of nowhere. So they have the modern language that's the closest to Old Norse, which is Faroese. And yeah, just a bunch of neat stuff. Very, very interesting cuisine. So they got things like they eat whale there. So I'd love to go there and try out some whale. They eat like puffins and other stuff there, like a bunch of like really kind of neat.
Not the puffins.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting.
be really neat. And one of my favorite metal bands is from the Faroe Islands. That's Tour.
There you go.
Tour is
Yeah.
from the Faroe Islands, and they're great. But Iceland, I guess, like is right beside it too, and that's a really kind of weird, interesting place. It's like an entire island where, like God said, we're gonna make this island, but oops, all volcanoes.
Yep.
To the point where everybody I know that visits it, that's like, you got to get used to it a little bit because it smells like sulfur because there's so many
Oh yeah.
volcanoes.
Oh yeah.
But it's another one where I want to go there and try some of their cuisine, because they have what's called hakaro, which is like fermented like Greenland shark.
Oh yes.
And so
Seen that on TV a few times.
a lot of the fish and sharks and stuff like that they eat there, because of like how high up they are and how like deep the water is over there, they have to survive in those pressures and in that cold of those waters. There's like a high amount of ammonia in the animals, in the sharks and in the fish itself, in the form of urea. And so what the Faroese and the Icelandic people do is that they'll fish these fishes and they'll fish these sharks, and they'll basically hang them and either have them like wind dried, where the wind and the salt and the wind literally dries them after months and months and months, or they like with Carl, where it's like they'll ferment it for like 6 months. So like the shark rots and ferments, and while it's doing that, all the urea is dripping out of the shark into these little things, and they go away. And then after a while, once it's fully fermented, you cut a bite into it, and you have a nice big stinky piece of shark blubber that you eat. So I really want to try that. It's probably disgusting, but I'd really want to try it.
That does not sound appealing at all.
Yeah, but you got to do it.
Oh, come on, Mike. Where's your sense of adventure?
My sense of adventure doesn't extend that far.
Yeah. Come on, you got to do it. It's like when I
dry aged shark.
Mm-hmm. Yep, fermented shark, and then like wind dried fish, and then they got another one in the Faroe Islands. They also do that for sheep, where it's like fermented sheep or wind dried sheep, probably the both.
I do it for sheep.
I gotta try haggis at some point.
Haggis. Haggis I've heard is really good, but for the gang, for the audience out there that doesn't know what haggis is, one, shame on you. Two, it's basically like not making a sausage, but you're making like a stuffed food out of sheep's lung, which is a traditional Scottish dish. Which every time I see it, it's like people like, oh, every time like in the shows and stuff like that, they make it look so disgusting and so gross. Like, yeah, it's time to eat haggis, and then you see it get like cooked in real life. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, that looks really good, actually.
Yeah.
That looks really good. But then I guess to cap it off, and a more, not melodramatic, what's it, bittersweet, I guess, sort of bucket list item. And this one really is like a bucket list item, because I'm banking on the fact that hopefully it gets better. But I would really, 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 really love to visit so many places in Venezuela that I never got to visit. And especially as an adult, where now as an adult, I know, especially as an amateur historian or enthusiast, if you will, like, know all the history of Venezuela, know the history of Simon Bolivar, Gomez, Perez Jimenez, like all that sort of stuff. Like, for example, I didn't even realize it till last year, but just south of where we used to live we used to live in La Isla Margarita, so the island of Margarita, and just south of that, in the same state, is a settlement called Cumaná, that is one of the oldest settlements in the New World. Like, one of the oldest, like 1521, like old, like continuously inhabited too, type of thing. So like, so much history everywhere you look, and especially in Latin America. So I'd like to, hopefully one day when things get a lot better, I would love to go there and experience the culture and history of the people that I belong to. And the biggest one too is that I would love for it to get to a point where I could share it. That's the big one. Because there's such a genuine, beautiful country that sadly, through politics and numerous other nonsense, has basically been destroyed. So
yeah, it's
in a bittersweet way, that is something I am hopeful that one day it'll either fix itself or get to a point where it's not, Mike won't just walk out and they'll like look at him and they'll do like the Family Guy where like they see your skin tone and they see, oh, this guy's too white and he's also like 10 feet tall, and they just shoot him and take your wallet immediately. But, no, that's that. And then, I don't know, do we want to get into experiences? Leave that for another day. Bucket list experience. Now, this is one where like I didn't really personally, I haven't really thought of one on the top of my head, but if I had to think of one now, as far as experiences go, one experience I've already done, thankfully, so I don't have to go and do it again, even though I'd love to do it again, which is I went to the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. So that was a bucket list item that I'm thankful I crossed off, because with the current situation going on there, I don't know when anybody will ever be able to go to the Chernobyl exclusion zone, if ever. But I guess another one, this is like kind of related to going to like the extremes, all these weird places. I'd love to go on an Antarctic expedition.
Oh.
I'd love to like get on a ship or get on a plane and go to Antarctica, to this continent that is so weird and so genuinely alien and stuff like that. There's other stuff too, like simpler and way cheaper and not expensive. I'd love to do a transatlantic cruise. So that's like the classic, like you'll go from like Southampton to New York type thing. And I'd love to do even like Cunard, which is it's gonna like show how much of a dork I am for this stuff still. But Cunard is one of the like ancient bespoke ocean liner like lines from England or from the United Kingdom, where White Star Line was the line that had the Titanic and the Olympic and the Britannic and those kind of ships. And Cunard was like the competitor, where they had the Lusitania that sank in the First World War, and then the Mauritania and a bunch of other ships and stuff like that. And so Cunard is still like a line today that does a lot of cruising. And I think the Queen Elizabeth too, I think is the like last classic ocean liner, where like it's not made for cruising. It was made during an era where people didn't fly from one continent to the other. They had to take a boat. They had to take a ship there. And so they still do like they still do transatlantic crossings with it. And I'd love to do that. Probably another one of those that like my mom, who I know is listening, would probably love to do, because that's with the Cunard one in like the Queen Elizabeth II ship. That's one where you have to come like dressed, like tuxedo dress. Like you think like first ancient, like turn of the century, like first class experiences. That's what they're trying to cater to, like that sort of bespoke experience. So it's one of those where like, yeah, it might be a little pricey, but I'd like one day I'd love to do that, and I'm pretty sure my mom would also love to do it. So who knows? If this channel ever makes it off and I get Mr. Beast money, then if I get Mr. Beast money, everybody's coming up too.
Yes. Oh
and
my
then we
God.
do a murder mystery. Then we do a murder mystery. That'd be wild.
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
That would be so much fun. Could you imagine like a birthday party type shit? I've always kind of wanted to do one of those. If I had like enough
like a murder
people.
mystery on like a boat or a train. Oh
yes, on a train. That's another one too. I'd like to. There's some like really cool, like the Orient Express that still does its thing. I would love to go on that train ride, that experience. But no, tons and tons of cool little experience. I don't know. Andrew, you got any experience?
Skipping over the obvious hat and time shill.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, like the murder mystery in the train is not just the Hat in Time. That's like an ancient film and television trope and writing trope. Murder on the Orient Express and all that. But
Death on the Nile for the boats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Death on the Nile. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's another experience I would love to do, but I can't do. Is to go to Mecca and do the Hajj, which is your pilgrimage to go see to go to Mecca, right, into the walled city.
Yeah.
And go see the big Rubik's Cube. Sorry, followers of Islam. I know. But yeah, to go on the Hajj, which is your pilgrimage, which is to go to Mecca. But since I'm not a follower of Islam, I can't do that, which is kind of a shame because I really I would love to. And the Hajj is neat because it's like for people of the Islamic faith, it is like not a mandatory. It is mandatory actually. The mandatory pilgrimage you have to do once in your life.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And so you got to go like all the way to, you got to go all the way to Saudi Arabia. Then you take a flight to like Jeddah or Medina. I think it's Jeddah is the city. It's right beside.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go to Mecca, and you got to go there. And if you look like if you look like us, then you actually have to have a Muslim certificate, which is to say that like you are a follower of Islam.
Oh, huh.
Things like that.
They don't just make us pay the jizya or something like that? Nah.
No, they won't. They won't even, like, if you're not even the follower of Islam, they won't even let you in.
Huh, I did not know that.
Yeah, which is kind of like, everywhere else in the world, it's like anybody can go to the Vatican and enjoy it. Anybody can go to, I don't know, Brigham Young and University and get scammed there. But but Mecca's still closed off to the infidel like us, even with the jizya. So, that's interesting. But yeah, I don't blame them. That's like that's up to them, right? But
yeah,
I would love to do that. I'd love to do that. I have quite an interest in Islam, especially Sunni Islam and Sufism. That stuff's really cool. But I don't know, Andrew. You got any experiences?
Oh boy. Well, obviously, like you, I would like to visit some extremely exotic places, but that's just going back to travel. So I don't know. I guess visit the pyramids, like you said. Go on a cruise. I would like to go on. I know this may sound childish. I don't care. I would like to do the Disney cruise because
I've heard they're fun. I've heard they're really fun.
It is the happiest cruise on earth, and I don't care what people say.
I've never been on a Disney cruise. I've only been on one cruise in my life. That was with my dad way back, like 20. Or no, that was like I was in grade 7, grade 8 around there. But I really enjoyed that cruise. I really enjoyed my mom went cruising recently and she really enjoyed that. I personally find and if you're of this affiliation, that's fine. I no shade, but I find cruises to be way more interesting than resorts.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you got everything the resort does, except your resort moves. And you get to, every time you wake up, you're in a different spot. And so, like, for cruises and that, it's not just the Caribbean. Like, they do tons of cruises in the Mediterranean as well. There's, like, some... I'll have to mention this to my mom, too. But, like, there are cruises. You could take, like, 1-2 night cruises for, like, 100 euros, 120 euros, where, like, you go from, like, Genoa to, like, Valencia in Spain or Barcelona, or... There's like one that I think is 3 days, and it's from Civitavecchia, which is the main port right by Rome. There's Civitavecchia, and you go from there. Civitavecchia. So
yeah, I know.
Civita, aka Civita or Civita, in Latin means city. Vecchia means old. So Civitavecchia means old city.
Oh.
That's what it means.
Why'd you say that?
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, they got one from there to Cadiz in Spain. It's like a 3-night cruise, and they're like really affordable. They're like 200 euros, like 180 euros, or like these little like weekend cruises, and it's like, yeah, they look pretty nice. So yeah, I'll have to do them one day. But anyway. Yeah, going back to your thing, the Disney Cruise Line ships, except for the new one they made is kind of ugly, but they're really nice. They evoke that like old style ocean liner in a lot of them. They got
all we need now is like flapper dresses and oversized suits.
Get my zoot suit.
Zoot suit.
Yeah, because they got like really pronounced prows and stuff like that. So they look like ocean line. They look genuinely wonderful and beautiful. But Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. I wouldn't knock you for wanting to do that. All right.
And then, I guess, like, I do have some skills that I would like to learn on my bucket list. Obviously, I would need to, if I'm going to visit you in Italy, I really do, and I've been putting this off for fucking ever, I really do need to learn, like, Spanish, Italian, maybe French and Portuguese if I'm really feeling frisky. But, like, those four I really should learn. And then, if I'm not entirely sure how useful this could be nowadays, but maybe, like, Scottish Gaelic. But then, not only that, I would also like to learn how to draw. I don't know. I've just had this. Maybe it's because I've been reading a bit of comics as of late, but figured I probably should have done more of that back when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's something I've always wished I had kind of like a natural talent for. Like, there's like some friends that we have that are like, yeah, it's like, damn, she's like a natural talent at drawing. And it's like, man, I wish I could do that. Well, actually, I spent like a million years taking a million of the like How to Draw Manga volume 35 from the school library to go do. And I'm like, yeah, but this is a natural talent.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm hearing natural talent.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's like one of those. I guess, like, not even think skill. That's like, that is an experience. I guess for that, I'd really like to do. I'd like to be in a touring band. I think that'd be fun.
We should start one.
Like a touring metal band. I need to get like my bass and stuff.
Oh, a touring metal band. Oh, okay. I was trying to say, like, I've always been thinking I should get back to my clarinet playing, but I'm not entirely sure that might fit in a metal band.
No. After high school, I dropped that sax so hard.
Oh.
After that experience and those teachers, I had enough.
Fair enough.
I had enough of that. They're like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be serious about band camp, or are you gonna quit? And I'm like, be serious and do band camp, or be a lifeguard and make money. Okay, be a lifeguard and make money. Easy.
Yeah, that's fair.
But maybe, I don't know. Maybe when I'm super old and I'll regret things, then I'll pick up the saxophone again.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like, if I had a saxophone, I'd probably I ain't got nothing against a sax. But the accordion, I'd love to learn the accordion. I've always wanted to learn the accordion. But
this is gonna sound basic, but I have one guitar. I've got my grandpa's old guitar sitting in the room across from me. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, that's another one too. Like, my hands are all messed up because I got like swan neck on 2 of my fingers. But I would love to like learn any guitar, but specifically, like, I'd love to learn like flamenco guitar. That stuff's so cool. Fun. Even like Resident Evil 4, like right at the beginning, it's like a lot of flamenco and stuff like that. Would naturally, because they're in Spain, so it's like, man, I love flamenco. Last time I was in Valencia, and I was downtown, and one of the big plazas. Yeah, there's always like, people there playing their guitars and stuff like that. And there was like one guy, exquisitely talented, playing like flamenco guitar. It's just like, it's impressive because you see like their hands are doing like they're doing a magic trick, just playing that. Like, and it's just like, how do you even do that? I can't even, like, I'm not even seeing what your hands are doing. It's incredible. But anyway, Mike, what about you? Experiences, skills, hobbies, whatever.
I'd like to get a motorcycle up and running again, like something I could I built up cheap, like how I did before. Get that and just tour down like the United States where it's nice and warm during like the summer months, and just spend 3 months going from one coast to the other.
Yeah, you should get your bike up and running and hang out with my.
I sold it.
Yeah, I know you sold it, but like get a bike up and running, and go hang out with my mom and Dave, because they do like my mom doesn't drive bikes, but like Dave rides motorbikes and that, so I'd be down for that. I'm like deathly afraid of motorcycles, so like even though they're so cool, but they're like I'm sketched out every time I see a motorcycle, which is funny because I don't have the same idea for like scooters and like mopeds. Like, you hand me a Piaggio Vespa, or Piaggio Ape, and I'm like, oh, okay, damn, yeah, I'll drive this everywhere. I'll drive this on the highway and look like an idiot and crash and die. That's fine. But then it's like motorbike, and it's like, I don't know. That's so sketchy.
Throw a bigger displacement on there, and all of a sudden it's no bueno.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's that, throw a side saddle on the bike and just
side
camp
saddle.
out. Yeah, what do you call them?
Sidecar?
Saddlebags.
Sidecar.
Oh, saddlebag.
Sidecar.
Side saddle's
Bring
a
my
way
dog.
of riding a horse, my
sidecar,
guy.
bring the dog.
Yeah.
And then throw some saddlebags in the back.
Yeah,
and
give Kazbek some goggles.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be tight. That'd actually be great. And yeah, just go down to the States, maybe hit up California, and then drive all the way over to Florida, and then
Drive the Ventura
might go
Highway.
back. Yeah.
Mm.
I think that would be nice. As for skills, I'm not really too sure. I mean,
That'd be.
I'd like to learn more about woodworking and maybe do some more woodworking and start building things.
Man.
There's
Carpentry
You
is
do
like.
woodworking?
Or go in.
I was gonna say, did you do woodworking when you were in school, Mike?
I did some in high school. I actually ended up making the basic, what do you call it, cutting board and like charcuterie board and all that stuff for my family,
Oh, yeah.
which apparently has lasted until like last Christmas because they finally started asking me if I could make them another one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was like, that thing lasted like 15 years, 16 years. Jesus. And I'm
Man.
insane.
Carpentry is like really neat, but I have like it's like one of those things I have no patience for. And that was developed, and that no patience was developed because in shop class, it's always the same. There's like a million crappy saws, and then there's like 2 really cool specific saws that you want to use.
And everyone is fighting for those.
Yeah, and everybody's fighting for those saws. And then the rest of it's like, okay, Canes, use the bandsaw. And it's like, oh, the one with like, like dull teeth that are jagged that like, and with, and you're trying to cut it with like a piece of wood that has like a million knots in it. So every time it's like, and then like, it's gonna chop
You
your
get
hand off.
jammed
type
every
thing.
5 seconds. You gotta restart. Oh my god, it's the worst.
Yeah, it's like, oh. No, because like for the push-pull, because yeah, like in the school
I
that we were
remember
in,
that.
yeah, we had
I
to make
sucked at that.
I had to make a push-pull. The first piece of wood that they gave me had, and I didn't understand this when I was back then. I just like, wow, like I don't think my piece of wood worked. I don't get it. It's really tough. I didn't know until now that it was a crappy piece of wood because it had like a million knots in it. So like every time you try to cut it, like, and then it would like, grab on one of the knots and then like rip it up back and forth, and like you'd ruin everything. It's just like, and then the sanders, they only had like 2 belt sanders, so it's just like, oh no, just sand it by hands, kids. And it's like, oh okay,
Yep.
10,000 years later, and it's like, oh okay, this one corner's like, like bald man, top of head smooth, like perfect egg smooth, and then the rest of it is like splinters.
Yep. And you've used like 30 pieces of sandpaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised you could even get the belt sander. Like, I could never get the belt sander. Like, there would always be people who
I never
would...
did.
Who would
I never did. That's why I had to
oh,
spend
no,
all that time.
okay. No, I see.
Yeah. And then after that, then it's stuff like, oh, well, now I'm an adult. I got real life. I could get into carpentry. And I'm like, yeah. But why?
Yeah.
Apart from the genuine skill that comes from being a homeowner and things like that, which I'm going to very foolishly bank on my ability to be rich, which is not going to get me anywhere. And I'm just going to be a middle-aged, old, useless man that don't know how to use a saw or anything like that. I do admire that. I admire, people. It's like, oh, time to do renovations, time to do tile work. Granted, I could probably do all of those. I could probably learn to do. The question is
Do you want to?
I don't wanna. I don't wanna. Maybe tile work. I like stone stuff a lot better. But like,
stonework would be good.
Carpentry is nah. I don't want to spend all my day cutting logs. I want to spend all my day dropping logs instead. That's more fun than cutting wood.
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Oh, wait.
Speaking of classes we took in school, did you guys ever have to take like foods classes?
Yeah, food.
Yeah,
Foods wasn't too
I
bad.
took one for like one like course class. I don't know what you would call it. Like when you just do it for a few months. That's the only time I ever did it. It was garbage.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, God, no. No, we learned how to make like creme brulee and God, what else? I don't know. The creme brulee is the one that stuck with me because I'm like, when am I ever going to make this? Who am I ever going to try to impress? At 16, who am I going to make creme brulee for?
You never know. You might have like a date over or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, at 16.
My
Yeah.
dates, I just try to impress with a steak and like a baked potato.
You're already ahead of the curve
that's
in
very,
that case.
Exactly.
Yeah, very Anglo-Celt of you. Here's a big piece of steak.
over.
I am impressed with
meat
Oh, what will you make? Spaghetti?
He eat the spaghetti.
The spaghetti. Andrew has had my sketty, and it is an exquisite
I have
sketty.
had your sketty.
Yeah, Mike, we've all had his sketty. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
I'm still kind of thrown off by the mayonnaise. I'm not gonna lie.
That's how you get the rosé sauce.
That's how you get the rosé sauce. Yeah.
God, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.
Because that's the thing, and that's the problem. And like, people, they just don't get it. They don't get it. Because they'll see you make it. They'll make it, and it's like, wow, this looks really good. And then it's just a bit of mayonnaise to get it, like, that bit creamier. People go, what the hell? You can't do that.
A bit.
You can't. Yeah, it's a little bit more than a bit. But I was also, you know how much sketty I was making? For how many people? Like 6 people?
That's fair. That's fair.
So it's a lot. But it's really not, you don't need that much. But people don't. They don't get it.
Get it?
They don't get it. Oh, no. But in terms of like, in terms of food, I am kind of like a little bit of a one-trick pony that way. There's like a few.
Don't say that.
There's a few dishes that I know how to do exquisitely to impress somebody, and I hope they dump me before they get to the 4th dish. Because then it's just sketty again. Or something. Or man, that's why living in Italy is perfect. You find a ragazza, and it's just like, what are we gonna have? And what are we gonna have today, amore? And I'm like, a pasta, and it's just like, yeah, perfect. And it's like, yeah, we have pasta every other day.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care. They love it. But one day, food class though, to kind of go on that very briefly. Food class is one of those classes that I really enjoyed, but I can see if you get the wrong team, it could suck.
Oh yeah, I've got a bit about that.
Oh, okay.
So I only ever took food class in grade 7, and so for us, that was essentially when it was mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
And I was paired up with a few of my friends. So, Mike, Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think maybe Wiggers was there as well. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
For those who don't know, they're other friends of ours, old friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had a few other people. Now, I personally wasn't a huge fan of them, but everyone else was either okay with them or friends with them. But like these guys, they were of this opinion where they needed to have everything done correctly, so only they would be allowed to cook, and the rest of us were essentially on dish duty, which at the time was like, okay, fine, whatever, because I don't mind. I don't mind cleaning dishes if it just means that I get to eat food and get a passing grade, so whatever. But then there were a few instances where
The food sucked?
Kelly, was that?
Did the food suck?
The food wasn't the worst. It wasn't the greatest, but like it wasn't the worst. But no, when it really came to a head is when Wiggers and Kelly and Mike had to be away for various reasons. So I would be the one who stuck with them, or I'd be the one doing all the cooking because they all had to be away for various reasons. And that's when things started getting to a head because if you're not cooking, you don't get the skills, And B, compared with guys who just want to judge everything you make, it's just not.
Oh
It's not a recipe for a fun time. So, yeah, it wasn't overall a terrible experience, but there were days where just, my God, I just wanted to.
Yeah, choke somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Choke somebody.
No, I only really did it the one, the grade 7 one. I think I was the only one that I did, and it wasn't even so much because I didn't like cooking. It's mostly because like the team I had, they weren't bad, but it was like 50-50. It was like you'd have some days it'd be like the try hard, other times it'd be the spastic, it'd be the OCD person, where it's just like, and then there'd be like a couple of us that are okay, let's just try to make something, let's just try to like finish it. They're like, no, we're not doing this perfectly, I think you've added like one millionth of a milligram in extra, I don't think it's gonna work. And
it's cooking, it's not an exact science. All right, guys, like our ancestors weren't using measuring shit.
Exactly.
I just skipped my classes.
Bad. I didn't learn that till way later, and I'm like, damn, wait, you can just not go.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, man. I just spent my entire home ec time just chilling in the library playing ROMs that I had downloaded onto an emulator.
Oh wow, that's actually more lame than cooking, I think.
I don't know. I think spending an hour per day, getting to play Super Mario 64, the library is pretty freaking dope. Got to hang out with some people.
Yeah, all right, maybe.
Yeah,
got a point there.
I think I still rather.
It was. I did get found out one time.
I know if I asked a few people, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, smash Super Mario all the way." Oh.
Yeah, and then toddlers.
Yeah, Mike, do you ever have people like that when you were growing up? People who would literally like bring consoles to school and just spend their free time just playing like Smash. It was always Smash. It was Smash.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was that kid, but I had a Sega Genesis, so I was playing, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Well, I guess that's a little better. Not much.
Or a Game Boy Advance, and playing like Legend of Zelda, like Minish Cap, or what else? Super Mario Brothers, Superstar Saga, or whatever it was. Those are some good games.
They are good games. Oh boy. Anyway, to end it off, usually in our videos, we talk about what have we been, playing, what games we've been playing, or what things we've been watching. And so since these videos are a little bit different, and they come periodically, not all the time, we're changing them up, where it's what books we've been reading, or, what music we've been listening to, any particular albums or songs or books that have stuck with us in the last little while. So, I don't know. Andrew, you take it away if you got something.
Oh boy, this is gonna be very much a slap on the wrist moment for me because I've got a few books that I've started but haven't finished as of yet. So, just checking on my shelf quickly for stuff that I'm in the middle of. I started reading some of Jules Verne, or Jules Verne, depending on whether or not you want to butcher the French or not. I've been reading some of his short stories. So I've got a collection of his four, arguably his four most famous ones: 5 Weeks in a Balloon, Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Around the World in 80 Days in a collated volume. So I've started on Journey to the Center of the Earth. There is I believe it's a Canadian author. He's created his own. I remember I met him at one of the comic expos years ago before COVID happened, and he was just really, really earnest with his pitch. So I thought, okay, I'll give his thing a try. It's a fantasy adventure series, very original, very daring today. It's supposed to be a trilogy. I know he's got 2 books out so far. I'm not sure about the status of the third one. First book is called A Mortal Mistake. It's by Vince. Reach for that so I don't have to.
Vince.
There we go. It's by Vince Seim, or Seam. That's Seim. Book 1, Heaven, Hell, and Humanity, A Mortal Mistake. He's really going in. He's really trying to make his own kind of Diablo-esque lore with heaven, with the stereotypical demons and angels fighting for control of humanity and stuff like that. So there's that. I'm currently reading through a collection of comics from the 70s called ElfQuest. I've purchased essentially their first, I don't know how many issues, in a single omnibus type volume. It's some 700 pages worth of material, and you can the writing is very much of the time. And the costumes as well. Oh my god, the costumes on some of these people, they look like they belong in like a discotheque. Then wandering forests.
Is it like Mobius did the art or something like that?
Yeah.
It's like he's a French. Yeah, he was like a French comic book artist, sci-fi artist of that era. That made a lot of really interesting stuff.
Yeah, not quite. Very good guess. This is by a husband and wife duo. The writer is Richard Pini, and his wife is the one who does the art, Wendy Pini.
Interesting.
And that's
You'll have to send that to me. Is it like sword and sorcery type stuff?
Yeah, sword and sorcery. Humans are still very much kind of very early Bronze Age, late primitive, and the focus is very much on elves, if you couldn't tell. But they're not like Tolkien elves. They're about half the size of humans. They've only got 4 fingers, so they're very alien compared to us, and that leads to some animosity. But I believe actually a large number of their first sort of volumes are available online for free on like elfquest.net or .com or whatnot, what have you. So you can probably link that down in the description or somewhere if people are wanting to take a look at that.
For sure.
And send that link to you as well if you want to take a look. But yeah, those are kind of the things that I've been reading. And then as far as listening, I still very much am like my parents. My music choices, my music tastes are very much rooted in like the 70s and the 80s. But occasionally I'll find something new that catches my attention.
Yeah, occasionally you'll go to a Rammstein concert.
Occasionally I'll go to a Rammstein concert. Exactly. But probably the most recent artist that kind of hit my radar as of late is Steven Sanchez. He's put out a couple pieces that harken back to kind of like that 50s, 60s crooner kind of soft pop rock style. So.
Not like rockabilly type stuff, or
not quite rockabilly, a little bit slower, but in the same vein.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Mike, what have you been reading or listening?
Reading, I just recently kind of read through. It was a mixture of reading through and listening to the audiobooks for the ones that I don't have. But the Dune series. So I read through as far as not Dune Messiah. That was only the second one. Was
my bucket list?
The third one?
The third to last, or the second to last of the series. So Heretics.
Yeah.
Heretics of Dune. That's when it kind of started getting just a little too nutty for me. It just started getting a little too out of reach. Like, we're thousands of years in the future at this point. The main characters are pretty much all gone.
No, you're already thousands of years in the future, though.
Oh, it's like, okay, fair. No, it was a damn good series. Like, I originally just knew Dune through the old was it 1980s?
84 David Lynch film.
Yeah, that was how I knew it, and I wasn't aware that movie took a lot of liberties with the source material and just what was going on in the story being told. Not to mention just the narration, the open narration happening, or not open narration, but just inner monologues happening out in the open.
Yeah.
Like Neil Patrick Stewart.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Patrick Harris's character. Patrick Stewart's character, like having weird internal monologues and all that. It was just kind of offsetting. And then I actually read the book, and it is fantastic. Oh my god. there's so much that goes on in the books that never gets portrayed on the screen. That is just amazing.
Yeah, because that book is like dictionary thick.
Yeah. That's
Dude, that's
yeah,
not that big. It's not that
my
big.
guy, it's
so-
almost 900 pages.
It was so comically thick that the only people that would actually print the Dune book when Frank Herbert wanted to print it, none of the people wanted to print it. Because it's like, one, this is this guy's like first big publication. So it's like nobody wanted to print it. And then two, it was so fat that it was like a liability to print something this big. You know who ended up printing it? Like printing the first few editions and stuff like that? And it might not be specifically them, but I'm 90% sure it's them. But it was the Haynes like car manual guys. Like the guys that like you go to like Canadian Tire or Home Depot or whatever, and you have like the big fat like manual about your car, your 94 like Honda Accord shitbox that's got this thick like 1,000-page manuscript about every single little problem that you can fix. Those were the guys who printed the first editions, because the guy got it who owned Haynes and went, wow, this is pretty cool. Yeah, we'll print this. And they're like, oh, you printed no problem? And it's like, yeah, we print like 1,000-page manuscripts easy. So they do it, and then they just print it on thinner, kind of cheaper paper. And so that's how it got printed. But yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But Dune is comically a very long book that has been very notoriously difficult to adapt into film or TV or anything. Honestly, the closest thing I could see it working is probably a video game, because man, forget who was the developer, but
aren't there video games that are supposed to cover the story that were released back in like the
oh, there are ancient like pre-Command and Conquer like Westwood games, like ancient like real-time strategy game that Westwood did in the Dune universe. But no, I'm talking about, there was a point-and-click adventure game of Dune developed by, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was like really good, really in-depth, and it what's the word, it had like point-and-click adventure element to it, and it also had like a bit of a strategic element to it, where you kind of had to determine in different parts of Arrakis like what would happen. So it could be like, okay, do you like work with do you just destroy these places like scorched earth to deny it to the Harkonnens? Harkonnens being interesting because they're literally evil space fins from the future. Because Harkonnen is like that's a very Finnish sounding name. But anyway, yeah, either like scorched earth to deny it to the Harkonnens, taking it back for House Atreides, or actually working with the Fremen to turn Arrakis back into like a jungle world again, and like slowly but surely like turn Dune green again. Like
that would be interesting.
Yeah, it was developed by Krew. It was developed by Krew, which is like an ancient French developer from the 90s, published by Virgin Games.
There's a new real-time strategy game that they just dropped. Didn't there? Or was it an RPG?
It's a real-time strategy. It's like a 4X game, if I recall, but it's in early access. I'm looking at it. And I hope it releases this year because I really want to play it, but it's one of those where it's like, no, I'll wait till it's done and then I'll play it.
That's fair. I'm kind of happy sitting on the sidelines waiting for these games to get better over time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But anyway, Mike, you listen to anything? Any music?
Nothing too appealing. Like, my music is all over the place. Let's see. Let's take a look at my Spotify real quick. See what we got. We've got some AC/DC, some Creedence Clearwater Revival. We got
oh wow.
We got Royal Blood, Low Roar.
Yeah, Low Roar. Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. Maneskin.
Oh, no. Oh, my God, no. Shut up. God, Maneskin freaking sucks so bad, it's not even funny.
Oh.
Maneskin is like a group from Italy, and they're like the cringiest, most like pop rock, melodramatic nonsense. God, Maneskin sucks so bad. You're fired from the program just for that.
Yeah.
You're fired.
We brought him back. We're getting rid of him.
Yeah. See?
Probably back for nothing.
Yeah. And so next, for the audiences out there that already listened to episode 5, this is going to be weird because we're going to announce in episode 5 that Mike got fired and James is coming as a permanent replacement. And then he comes back for episode 6 and then he leaves again.
That's right.
Oh my God, man.
The canon is all messed up.
That's like,
we knew it was going to happen.
Just say your sister uses your Spotify and she listens to Maneskin. That'll be like way more, I won't even say respectable, but you know, actually like could be held up in court.
God, it cut me down at the knees. Why don't you?
Oh, I would blow your brains out. If you were playing The Loneliest by Maneskin in my site, I would destroy you. I would cry
from the airport, and I'm gonna blast gasoline.
Oh, please don't.
No,
Maneskin.
Please don't. Unless it's that like terrible reggaeton song.
Pops.
Yeah. La gasolina. Play that reggaeton song, and then I'll be like, you know what? That's fine.
I'll play that. What's that one song from GTA? It's like,
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, three,
I know exactly. Well, what's happening? What? It's GTA song.
No, my.
I'm just gonna type that in.
But anyway,
it actually comes up.
Yeah, of course it comes.
Because
you bigots don't know the actual song in Spanish. That's me. I'm bigot. I don't know the song.
It's El Sonidito.
No, just spell it and put in the thing, so I could read it out. Anyway, Andrew, yeah, I posted that Dune game. There.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. They have a pretty kick-ass soundtrack, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it does. It's like made by Exos. Yeah, it's really good. But
I've also heard that there's a really well done audiobook with several different actors, different characters.
The one on Audible is not that good.
Oh, I see.
El sonidito. Hechiceros. Odd. Anyway. Yeah, one of the audiobooks on there, the one, and funnily enough, the one that I accidentally end up buying was like that, where it has a bunch of different voice actors and they all play different roles, but every chapter they change the roles, so they play different people every chapter. So you have this like whiplash from like, and you have no idea how to follow things because like they're all playing different people. There's that one. But anyway, to go to what I've been reading, or mostly listening to, because I listen to my literature on my commute to work, or sometimes when I'm doing stuff in the kitchen or stuff like that. I've been listening to recently to Epiphany of the Long Sun, which is the second half of Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. Gene Wolfe is a really, really great author that I really love his stuff. Like, Book of the New Sun is quite possibly one of the best like science fantasy novels of all time. we'll say out there, but Book of the Long Sun, it's basically, it takes place in this far, far future where it takes place in a generation starship where the eponymous Long Sun is a sun that goes from one end of the starship to the other. And people live like on the, as far as it's described, people live like basically on the inside like a ring. And so on that ship. And so it has to deal with a man named Patera who is basically like a priest in this ship for this town. In this monastery that's also like a public school and that sort of thing. And a crime lord buys, like basically through like hook or by crook, buys the deed to the church, to the monastery. And so it's basically this man gets a vision from one of the gods, because there's like these gods that it's like they're called gods, but it's pretty if you read between the lines and stuff like that, it basically they're not gods at all, they're just like AIs, right? Where like, you know, and it's pretty obvious because they say it's like, oh, the gods live in mainframe type stuff. But there's one of these gods that's called the Outsider that says like your goal in life is to save this Manteon, which is like the monastery, is how they call it. Okay. And so yeah, it's just like this guy's journey through going and dealing with this gang, like the gang owned by blood. So like dealing with the gang and then getting deeper into the city and then figuring out that there's like a conspiracy in the city and like there's spies from like a rival city over there, and that's because the rival city over there had was being manipulated by one of the other gods. Pretty badass, actually. Manipulated by one of the other gods to like send agents to this city to like basically overthrow their government. And like their government, they use a lot of like Spanish and like Italian vocabulary for like things. Like for example, like the cadre of like people that control like the town behind the scenes is called the ayuntamiento, or the ayuntamiento as they say it in the book, which is not how you pronounce it, but that's fine. It's a bajillion years in the future, so that probably degraded by then. But ayuntamiento in Spanish is like the city hall. It's like the council, city council type stuff. So yeah, like the big bad like conspiracy people that control the town are literally the town council. The mayor of the town is called the alcalde. So the alcalde is like the mayor, Spanish. And so like tons of stuff like that, and it's like, you know, where it plays itself off really straight, because like in this world, it's in a generation starship, but like everybody lives like a kind of almost like medieval sort of way. And like it's medieval, and then every so often they'll be like, oh, there's these men that talk like us, look like us, but they're actually like well over 300 years old. And they get turned on, they go into slumber, and they come back every so often. And it's like, oh, these are machines, they're robots. And so they could take bullets and things like that. There's like hover wagons that are pulled by horses type thing. So like these mixes of things that like they don't this mix of like, it comes off as like a fantasy thing, but the more you read it, the more it's like, this is actually just a sci-fi novel. There's like no fantasy elements in it at all. But Gene Wolfe's other work, The Book of the New Sun, which is his best novel, in my opinion. Well, it's a volume of 4 novels, which are, you know, Shadow of the Torturer, Claw of the Conciliator, Sword of the Lictor, and Citadel of the Autarch. But it's basically in those books, and I'm gonna talk about the premise of those books because I also incredibly highly recommend those books as well, where it's It's about like it follows a man named Severian who was raised in the Guild of the Torturers, which is like a guild where like they take orphans and things like that into it, and from birth you're basically raised to be a torturer and somebody who can extract the most pain without getting them to die, sort of thing, doing public executions, that sort of thing. And he did the one thing that was sacrilege in this guild, which was he fell in love with somebody he had to torture, and basically gave her mercy by giving her a knife that she slit her own throat with.
Ooh.
So because of that, he got kicked out. He's basically, you've been exiled. If you were anybody else, we would have killed you. But because of this is a good opportunity for you to be exiled, leave, and go to a city, be the lictor of Thrax, which is basically like the public execution type thing.
Gotcha.
And so it's this story of this young man that goes through this world, and this world is set on Earth, spelled URTH, because it's millions of years in the future, like a million years in the future, and it's on a dying Earth. The sun needs to be revitalized, like the Earth is freezing more and more, that sort of thing. And so like it's this dying Earth, and there's all these elements to the story that come off like it's also kind of like this medieval-ish sort of society, but it's way more cleverly hidden in Book of the New Sun instead of Book of the Long Sun, where it's like very front-ended. But it's this sort of world where like you go into it, you thinking it's fantasy, and in between the seams where you get glimpses, it's like, wait a minute, this is sci-fi.
Yeah.
This magic that happened with the mirrors and things like that and whatever, like, yeah, Father and Near's mirrors and stuff like that. It's like, that was like a teleporter. That was a holodeck. Like, that was like these science fiction concepts that are ingrained into us, but presented in such a fresh way that it makes it seem like magic. And it's really good. And it's basically like, and to put it short without spoiling, hold on, it's basically a man that gets kicked out of this guild to go on this journey, and on this journey develops a messiah complex and all the drama and things that come from it. And so Book of the Long Sun's kind of that way, where another person doesn't get like a messiah complex, but gets like a prophet complex, where he's the only one that's heard this god, but this god is like all different than the other gods, and so nobody believes him, and then there's like different cults and things clashing with each other, and it's like really, really. And so there's a lots of great characters in it, great characterization. I would highly recommend to read any of Gene Wolfe's work, especially Book of the Long Sun, and especially, and I would start here with Book of the New Sun. And those are my book recommendations. And then I guess to cap it off with music recommendations, only real music I've been listening to lately, apart from the typical like the soundtracks of the games that I'm playing through, is I've been listening to Periphery's new album, Periphery 5 Djent is not an album, which is funny because they're a Djent band. And Djent is like, it's like a progressive type of metal, like really kind of weird, like key signatures and that sort of stuff. So
gotcha.
It's the way I can describe it, it's the most Periphery album out of all of them. And I really enjoy it. This is my favorite album so far this year. Granted, to be fair, I haven't listened to that many new albums this year, but there's that. Earlier this year, there was a single by a band that from a friend of mine that is really, really good. It's like high production, like symphonic black metal, and they're from Fort St. John, up at BC, or Fort St. George. And so their stuff, they released a single in January, and it was really, 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 really good. And I'm waiting for the rest of the album to come out. So, yeah, if you're listening and you know who you are, release that goddamn album. Release it now. But anyway, yeah, that's my recommendations. That's what I got for you guys. You guys have got anything more to add?
No, I don't have anything else really.
At some point, we got to talk about stuff that.
The what?
Yeah.
We talk about stuff that we grew up on, like the stories and the books that we read.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man,
Those be some
books
good topics.
as kids. I don't know. I didn't read a lot of books when I was a kid.
Really?
But, no, not really.
See, I was the opposite. I did most of my reading when I was a kid.
Yeah, same. Funny how that works, eh?
Oh.
No. I don't know. I've always kind of liked movies and games more than books. And then now as I get older, it's, I still like film. I still like cinema and game development more than books, but I've, now that I'm an adult, I can read, like, the books that I want to. The problem is that, like, books when I was younger have always felt like a chore because it was the school telling you what you wanted to read, and every time it was always something awful, something stupid. Like like all the books in high school, I'm trying to think, the only book I really read that I enjoyed were 2 books, and these were like AP books because they were in advanced placements, and that was Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park and George Orwell's 1980. And
wow.
those were the advanced placement. And the rest of the books that I read were just like, whatever. And it's like, oh, Who Killed the Mockingbird? Like, yeah, okay, cool, I guess. I don't care. Lord of the Flies? Okay, cool. Next story, please. The ones that I did enjoy.
Great. What do you want about?
I didn't care. It's like, oh, these kids kill each other? Okay, cool. What is this? Battle Royale? Like, I don't give a damn.
We're just doing a little battle royale.
Yeah.
Don't be all among us sus.
Mm-hmm. The ones I enjoyed way more in English were the Shakespeare plays. I enjoyed the plays way more. Like Romeo and Juliet's great. Macbeth is great. Freaking, we didn't do Death of a Salesman, even though it's a good play. We did Hamlet, which is my favorite Shakespeare play, his best one. So yeah, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. But yeah, no, like growing up, I didn't really care for it because it's like it's the thing you did at school because they told you, instead of the thing you got enjoyment out of. But now as an adult with more interesting concepts and things like that, now I like books a lot more. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I really gotta say on that topic. But yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely more topics to be had in these sort of lifestyle casts. But even though we sort of failed. And I was hoping that we were going to have a shorter video. We didn't. We're at,
funny how that works.
Yeah, funny how that works every time. We're at 2 hours and 38 minutes. Unless I shorten that up in post.
Make a little changes here or there. Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed this one. This one was fun to talk about, and
me too.
For the people that enjoy our program, they might really enjoy it as well. So I don't know. You enjoyed, Mike?
I did.
Yeah.
This was good.
There's like way more goofy stories we could talk about.
Oh my gosh.
Way more stuff.
Your guys' pool stories, for example. That could be a whole episode unto itself.
Yeah.
The Punami.
Oh my god, we don't talk about it.
Oh my god. Oh, just stop. Just stop. I can't.
I don't talk about it. But anyway, I think this is a good way to end it off. Any last remarks, fellas, before we cap it off?
I got nothing to shill this time, so nothing for me.
This will be so far in the future, I don't even know what I'm going to be shilling, so I'm just not going to shill anything at all, except for my general videos, which, if you're watching this, you're probably watching anyway, so don't worry about it. Andrew, you got anything?
Make sure you're keeping up to date with all of Tom's going-ons with his new shorts, of course, these videos, his reviews, and stay tuned for more.
Yeah, for sure.
I always have to shill, that's my thing.
Of course, yeah. Except IRL, you don't chill enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But that'll be dealt with in time. Emphasis on dealt with. But anyway, this is of course Tom, the Chosen One, and wishing you all have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening listening to this wherever you are in the world. And we all hope you have a great time. You fellas take it easy.